that as well. The times are a little mixed up. Thank you to Fly Racing for coming on the show, and use the code PulpMX when you're checking out at flyracing.com. Thank you to those guys, whether it's Formula helmet, whether it's a gear, they've got it all for you, protection as well. Check out flyracing.com. Great company, and the code PulpMX saves you if you go direct there. Formula helmet's amazing, man. If you look at the technology behind it, it's lightweight, it's quiet, it's super safe. Thanks to the folks at Fly Racing. Get 100% O'Neill team lending, Maxxis Tires, Seat Concepts, Decal Works, all on board with us as well. And you people too, 702-586-7857. Give us a call, and let's talk Detroit. Let's maybe give some stuff away. We're going to give away a Fly Racing beanie and a pair of 100% goggles. So that's pretty cool, right? 702-586-PULP. And, let's talk Detroit. Taking your calls over there in the corner, holding things down. The Tis Legendary. Tis, what's up?
Excited to be here, sir.
Thank you for coming in early again.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate
Always.
that. Yep. And also coming in later, working the cameras and more. Always stress the and more. The Travis Marks.
I like to think I came in just in time.
I bet you did.
Yeah, that's how I roll.
Thanks to the folks at Maxxis Tires, by the way, maxxis.com. Mountain bike tires are great, and, of course, dirt bike tires as well, used by main event riders like Hunter Yoder, Kay Clayson, Fast Freddie Norn, amongst others. Check it out, please, maxxis.com, developed by Jeremy McGrath. We're going to have Zach Osborne and Dan Truman on the show today, so lots to get into when it comes to that. Dan also wanted to talk a little bit about the Lawrence hospitality thing and how it's rolling still, even though both brothers are injured right now. And, man, like I said, things turn fast in this series, don't they? Ken Roxon's DNF also with the lappers. I do want to talk to Zacho about that. I couldn't disagree with Phil Moore on Monday night. Obviously, he's a great racer. But to say that Kenny deserves zero fault, I'm not sure I'm there. But, hey, that's why we have the Fly Racing Moto 60 show, to express your opinion freely and with no judgment here. So thanks to the folks at Maxxis Tires, as I mentioned off the top, by the way. Eli Tomac, broken leg. Hunter Lawrence out for the season, and more to talk about here on the Fly Racing Moto 60 show with motocross champ, supercross champ, Zach Osborne. What's up, Zacho?
Not much, brother. What about you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming back. 2 weeks off, by the way, for you last two shows. So
yeah, I mean, hey, I thought I was just going to get paid and ride this thing out, but here we are.
Well, no, that would be Travis and Tits. That's what they do. You are not on that payroll. So,
Gotcha.
Hey, let's start with we're going to look ahead to Detroit, obviously, because I do want to talk about Sexton and Webb with you and your thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses of both of those riders, because it certainly looks like it's coming down to those two. But Eli Tomac, man, simple little corner, caught the leg, broke it, and I wonder, I don't know, I'm getting conflicting results on whether he went to the A-Stars rig or not. The broadcast said he did. I heard he didn't, and then he tried to race that night, but yeah, broken leg for Eli Tomac, Zacho.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. Like, you know how high I was on this, you know, see him go out like that, like such a simple, silly little mistake, like, you know, nothing even really did wrong, right?
Yep.
Just a tough deal. That's how quickly it can change, though. You know, we've gone from like 7 guys that felt like they could win, and, you know, we still had a lot of winners, but the pool's dwindling pretty quick now.
Do you think he should have raced? I mean, I guess if you don't know exactly that you have a broken leg, like, I do wonder, like, he was such a shell of himself. He got lapped twice. You got to do what you got to do, but at some point, maybe he did more damage. We don't know. It's hard to know. And I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this thing, but to me, I'm almost like, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't have rode. Maybe you did more damage.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, from the x-ray I saw, I don't even know if it's a real x-ray or not. It doesn't look like he did maybe that much more damage. Maybe it was not displaced. Maybe it was. You never know, like, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts. But, like, to me, if you want to have any shot at the championship, like, you got to go out there and try it, right? And I think he did the right thing by going out. You know, maybe he gets, I don't know if he went to the asterisk or not. That's the first thing. But, you know, maybe he doesn't ride, gets home on Monday, and it's a sprained ankle, and he's better by Detroit, and then he's kicking himself, you know? So in his situation, I'm thinking he probably had to at least try.
Okay. All right. big spirited talks this week on social and with riders and in my DMs and emails about lappers. Obviously, Jeremy Hand didn't mean to do that, but I'm of the thought that Ken Roczen deserved some blame for that. I mean, he's trying to split two guys in the sand section, and it went sideways. Obviously, he'd lose time if he would have checked up and all that. But is there anything more to do with lappers, Zacho? Because you've been one, and then you've lapped a ton of guys, and those guys are in their own race, and things are going crazy at different times for them. But where do you stand with all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's horrendous that it happened, first of all. Second, if it weren't the situation that it was, of course, like I said, if it's in busting Kenny nuts, but 100% it's on Jeremy Hand for not moving over. But at the same time, if he weren't getting lapped, it's probably 70 Kenny, 30 Jeremy Hand, in my opinion. From the views I saw, it looked like Kenny moved more than Jeremy Hand did. But at the end of the day, Jeremy Hand was getting lapped, so move over a little bit more. I do love the idea of a 10% rule. I don't know how you would vary it depending on track to be able to tell the riders and teams what that is before the main event, a minimum speed or whatever. So I think that's the most realistic, most fair option is some sort of 10% rule pertaining to lap time.
During the main event?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so you'd black flag these guys?
After 3 laps, say it's a minute lap time, right?
Yeah.
That gives you a 6-second buffer. After 3 laps underneath the 6-second buffer, you're black flag, yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, I've always said if you get lapped twice, you should get black flag for sure. We're trying to save the tracks here, right? The tracks are getting hammered, and if you're out there getting lapped twice, then just you're done, So
yeah, my views on all this. It's pretty extreme, but this is kind of one of the things. I definitely think that there's something to be done for when you're not even close to the pace, you're riding around doubling, looking back more than you're looking forward, trying to stay out of the way, but you're getting in the way. I feel like 10% rule or 12% rule or whatever is pretty common in other forms of racing. So why can't we try it? Like I said, there's going to be times where the track's deteriorating, like it's an Indy, really ruddy year Indy, and the leaders are varying 4 or 5 seconds laps. So there would have to be some sort of standard set on what that looks like as to how you determine the minimum speed or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that's the most realistic option. I don't think just because you're 2 laps down, you black flag and Eli Tomac this weekend. Probably not, right? Just that's the most fair way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see some issues with that, but yes.
Like what? Let's hear it.
Well, because if you're within the 6 seconds and you're getting lapped, now you're slowing down to let the guy go, and now your lap time is outside of that 10% range.
Yeah,
you slowed down.
If you're in a 450 main event, you shouldn't even be shouldn't be close to that. So, you've got to be fit enough and you've got to be fast enough to carry the speed.
Yeah. I think
pretty simple.
The easiest thing to do right away, and it would be a massive change that hasn't been done, is simply enforce the blue flags with fines or points. Be like, hey man, we gave you the blue flag 3 times and you did nothing. Or you passed the guy. You passed the guy you were battling with or whatever. And so you start fining and docking points / money, and these guys will make it a whole lot easier to be lapped.
That's more extreme, in my opinion, than the 10% rule, because, how do you determine that? For me, the thing that we need in our sport is more solidarity in the rules. There's no gray area. This is it, right? So how do you determine if they're racing, if they didn't check up? If they did check up and they got in the way, did they mean to do that? There's so many variables to that.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I think to me, it's just a judgment call, and if you want to argue about it, too bad, But yeah, it's something that maybe will never be solved.
Right, but that's exactly right. It's a judgment call, whereas a minimum speed rule would not be a judgment call. It's just, this is what it is. 3 laps under that, See you later. Like that's very
well.
simple.
Listen, the track would stay better, and the racing would still be fine. You know,
we don't need any more judgment calls or decisions. That's the last thing we need, Steve.
All right, sorry, Zacho. God, Zach Osborne here, 702-586-PULP. Give us a call. And thank you to Seat Concepts, by the way. They've been saving assets since 2009. Benny Bloss, Mitchell Oldenburg, Phoenix Racing, Ampro Yamaha, SLR Honda, and many more. Use Seat Concepts Pulp 25 to save 15% off. They will put you and your ass in a better place no matter what. Dual sport stuff, dirt bike stuff, vintage stuff, all of it. Seat Concepts covers, complete seats, foams, all of that. Please check it out at Seat Concepts and use the code Pulp25 to save. A lot of phone calls for you, Zacho, on the line, but let's get into this real quick. Webb, Sexton. Strengths, weaknesses, who do you like for this thing going forward?
Shoot, man. Like I said a few weeks ago, I think Cooper 10 points out of the lead, leaving Glendale was dangerous. Cooper 5 points out of the lead this soon, more dangerous. He was the biggest winner. Mookie won the race and all that, but Cooper Webb was the biggest winner of the weekend, in my opinion, just because, again, silent but deadly, not really great. Didn't even know most people probably don't even realize he got second, right? He was just rock solid again. Moving forward, if I had to put $100 on it, I would say Cooper Webb for the title.
Right. Okay. It was a little alarming to see Chase kind of throw that one away a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It looked oddly, like 3 years ago, which is not in the right direction.
What about Malcolm getting that win and riding that way? That's awesome, right? Really cool.
Yeah. So I had a lot of just, local friends and whatnot that went out to watch Joey from our cycling group and watch some of the other guys that kind of ride with us and whatnot. And they're like, man, that was a crazy race. And I was like, you have no idea. Most of them are first-time supercrossers. They were like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm like, you don't understand. We would have normally maybe 3 or 4 of those single-file restarts in a season. There were 2 last night, but the whole race was insane. The crowd, when Mookie would go around that side where the whoops were, standing up and cheering him on, just unreal, honestly. One of the cooler races I've ever gotten to see.
And Malcolm's a great dude. Everybody likes him. He's awesome,
Yeah, I literally have had very little interaction with him in my life. But yeah, it's cool. Always first-time winner is cool. And, he's been battling for a while, so it's cool to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got Zach Osborne on the line. Let's take some phone calls here. Fly Racing Moto 60 Show. Pulp MX code to save at flyracing.com. We have Nate on 4. Let's get to Nate. Nate, what's up, man?
Not much. Hey, I don't know if you remember me, 2011 SA contest winner. I wrote that tearjerker to win that contest.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Anyways, talking about, I know you love tough blocks and that stupid tough disc thing. I was actually in Tampa watching that race, and we were sitting in that corner. Stewart really stepped up. He started doubling that thing from the inside. But I don't know if you ever get a chance, Gal, your Chocolate River, talk to the boys at Feld and see if they could, I'm sure it's already been discussed, but even use graphics like they use on the takeoff of the finish line for sponsors. Every lap, put a new sponsor up or something, and just use track markers.
I just, the tough blocks getting the guys. I mean, look, I know RJ got caught up in it, but he shouldn't have to sit there for a lap. And they kept that little circular corner one kept getting knocked out, and they would put it back in the wrong spot. And then, I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do, and I get it. It's advertising. I understand that, but I mean, Zacho, you've raced in Europe where they're triangular, they're inflatable. Seems like there's better ways.
Yeah. And the only other thing.
Okay. Hold on, Nate. Go ahead, Zacho.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of pro tough block, just because they're very much like a hard line in the sand, right? If you watch World Supercross and they've got the cardboard ones, they're freaking falling all over the track. People are running them over. Even the ones in Europe, you blow through them, whatever. When I raced GPs originally, when I very first started, they had that green fencing, right? The green stuff that went around the track. And that stuff, legit, I'm not kidding you. If you looked at it the wrong way, it was wrapped up in your back wheel and the moto was over. and you knew that, like you knew, do not go near that. And it's the same with the tough blocks. Like I totally agree that they ruin a lot of races and all that stuff, but it has to be like, if you go to a practice track, there's lines everywhere, off the faces, off the sides of the jumps, of the triple, the finish line, all that stuff. Like, we used to get in a lot of heated debates about that stuff at the practice track, right? But that all goes out the window when you go racing, and that's because of tough blocks. Like, we know, all the guys that race know, don't mess with them. So I hate them. I hate to see stuff like what happened to RJ happen, like that, ruin potentially a season. But at the same time, like, they are a hard line in the sand. Should they all be staked down? I believe so. Have they done a better job about not putting them on top of jumps and landings and that kind of stuff? Yes. So in my opinion, there's been improvements, but like, they're a hard line in the sand, and I don't know anything else that the organizers could do that helps that also those guys would respect that they do tough blocks.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Matt Burkeen. What's up, Matt? How are you, man?
Gentlemen, how we doing? I'm fantastic. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for listening. What's up?
So I actually kind of had a little theory about Sexton, if you will, crumbling a little bit under the pressure of Malcolm. So I've been catching up on podcasts through the week with the race reviews and the Pulp Show and stuff, and I heard you and Big Lou theorizing that, if Sexton looked back and saw Malcolm coming, that, he should be fine mentally. But I actually kind of think the opposite is true. I feel like if Chase saw Cooper or Kenny or even Eli before he got hurt coming, I feel like that's maybe a little bit more expected than if you look back and you see Malcolm reeling you in. I almost feel like you're thinking WTF in your head. So I'm just curious if you guys think there's any truth to that, or you think I'm out to lunch.
What do you think, Zacho?
I don't think you're out to lunch. I feel like he should have been more content with it, like you said, but I think he knew he was about to get eat up because, like, the crowd response and just everything that was happening, I feel like he maybe tried to send it in there a little bit in the whoops, and that's what happened, in my opinion. I don't know. But I definitely think that all the factors that he was taking in, like, he could see him out of the bull turns gaining, and then the crowd on that side was just mental, right? They were just standing up and cheering and going nuts. But I don't think you're out to lunch, but I think it may have been a little bit different had it been a different guy, but I still think same outcome.
Yeah, I think a little bit of me is like what Matt is saying. It's like, I can't believe Malcolm Stewart's catching me, but
right.
Then in my mind, a little bit goes like, Mookie's awesome. He's killing me in the whoops because you can feel it and you can see it. And then you're like, he's not in the title. He's not in the title fight. Like,
yeah, take the second and call it a day instead of throwing away.
You guys have been there as racers. I do think you're like switching lines or trying this or trying that. You got to remember too, Sexton was losing time in that tabletop section too. After the big triple, Malcolm was going over, on, off, and Sexton was going over. I think it was slow or on. I don't know what Sexton was doing, but I don't know. He was losing time there too. Zacho, Mookie told us on Monday night that he was grabbing fifth in those whoops.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
I saw the segments on something the other day, and he was almost a second clear of the next best person in that segment.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for the call, man.
Hey, thank you guys for all the content. I'll be tuning in. Appreciate it.
Sounds good, man. Thank you. All right, that's Matt Burkeen. Gage is on one. What's up, Gage?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to touch on Nate Thrasher. He hasn't had a lot of hype, but he's always due for a token win. I wanted to see what y'all thought this year. I know the East Coast is pretty stacked, but whenever that guy shows up on any given night, I mean, I think history would say he could definitely get a win, but wanted to hear y'all's thoughts.
Well, he's coming in injured now. I guess he had a crash during the week and hurt some fingers, I heard. And so he's just going to try to ride this weekend. I don't know how well he's going to be. But healthy, yeah, I made a joke in my column on Racer X this week, Zacho, that we're about 2 weeks away from some East-West shootout, Thrasher just taking off with the win.
Yeah, it's possible. I think he has a little bit more ground to cover this year, just because he missed, almost all of Supercross last year, all of outdoors last year, most of Supercross and outdoors the year before. Like, he's starting to get in that category where he has such a hole to dig out of every off season that it gets tough. But is he capable of going out there and a random surprise win? Absolutely.
Yeah, I do think so too. We got a Big Lou question from Justin. Justin, what's up, man?
Hey, I kind of got a race tech rant about Big Head Lou,
Okay.
Maybe JT and Darkside too. They just don't give you enough credit, and I'm not trying to blow you, but they don't give you enough credit. And, you laugh it off, whatever. But if it wasn't for you, man, they wouldn't be where they're at. And I just think they need to I think Zach will agree, and I don't know if you know, but is Lewis or Big Head Lou, is he related to Lily Phillips? I don't know.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Oh.
But is it
influencer?
Oh, I don't think so. I met his brother and his mom.
Are they cool?
Yeah. I mean, you could make an argument.
Cool. He seems a little mad and angry and cocky.
He's just from the UK. That's how all those people are. They're stuck on an island with shitty weather.
Okay.
But thank you for the call.
I got one more for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
One more quick one.
Yep.
I don't know if you still give tickets away or anything.
I don't. No, I don't. I had some tickets
Okay.
at some points, but sorry, buddy. Yeah.
All right. Well, it is what it is, buddy.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. That's right, JT, Darkside, and Big Lou. About time they recognize Zacho.
Yeah, you got to give Steve the credit. I mean, Darkside's taken 6 lifetimes of heat from you, but yeah.
Just trying to make them better, sir.
I get it.
Peter's on 4. Wants to talk about Ken Roxon. What's up, Pete?
Hey, Steve. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Zach, 450 champion, badass. I'm just kind of, questioning the concern about Roxon. Steve's kind of counter argument is that these lappers they're in their race. This is their lifeline, and they make this money. But the whole series is about the championship. Tomac almost lost a race because of freeze, and Roxon now season-long implications from this crash. Like Phil said, the priority is the leaders. NFL, to a fault, protects their champs. So I think we need to do the same and not place so much focus on these privateers because they aren't putting asses in the seats.
Okay, so what should they do, and what should happen? Do you think?
Well, I think what you said earlier, it's kind of a change from what you said on the Pulp Show, but they need to enforce the rules that exist. I think that's not being done. That's why these privateers are being so boneheaded now, because they know nothing's going to happen. That's why they're literally riding in the middle of the track. Freeze is coming over the entire track.
Well, the freeze example was egregious. Absolutely, that was a joke for sure. I don't think anybody could dispute that. But when it comes to this hand Tristan Lane one, I mean, I feel for those guys. Like I said on the Pulp Show, I feel for them. I don't remember if Jeremy Hand, I should say, how soon he ignored the blue flag or if he ignored the blue flag. I don't know about that. But I'm saying in other cases when guys are ignoring the flag and it's obvious, or say, like I said, Kevin Moran's is famous for this, and I like Kevin, but he likes to pass guys who are slowing for the leaders, and that's bullshit. He should be docked. But I don't know if we have enough eyes and enough officials who are watching these dudes back in 15, 16, 17 to enforce this stuff. But, I mean, Zacho's 10% rule, I'd like to see that in effect. Zacho, how many guys would we have riding by the end?
I'm not sure. I haven't done that, but I also don't really care.
All right, this is a question for Marks.
Hey, wait. No,
Marks ain't doing nothing. Marks, find out by the last 3 or 4 laps of this, not the last lap because it's too variable. By the last few laps of the main event this weekend, how many guys were 6 seconds off? No, 10% of.
Actually, hey, wait. I did look at this on average lap time the other day. I think it was 14.
So we'd have 8 guys out there.
No, 14 guys.
14 were in.
Average was still okay, I believe. We looked at it at the track the other day because I pitched this to some of my guys, and they were like, they didn't love it, but they also didn't hate it.
Right. Okay.
But according to you, there's not going to be much, if it's 2 laps down black flag, that's also not going to be very many more than 14. Like it maybe would be 16.
So what if the guy? What if you make what if you're getting your 15th? No, you're 12th. You're riding well. You make a huge mistake, and that lap time is off 10%. But generally, every other lap has been.
Steve, did you listen to what I said? I said 3 laps under the 10% minimum.
Oh, I thought you meant after 3 laps, it's go time. That's what I thought you meant.
3 consecutive laps. No,
Got
3
it.
consecutive laps.
Oh, got it. Okay, sorry. I thought you meant after 3 laps in, that's when you start counting. Okay.
There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that were 2 laps down.
Yeah, they should all go. Go away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I believe there were 7 or 8 that couldn't meet the minimum according to their average.
Well, Mark's is working on this right now, right, Mark?
Okay.
Sure.
Mark's is in a bad mood.
Yeah, I'll look.
Okay. All right. Kicker Bob's on too. What's up, Kicker Bob?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Hey, got some questions for you. I was really kind of waiting for Dan Truman to get on too. But here's part of my question.
I can put you back on hold if you want. I can put you back on hold, Kicker, if you want.
That'd be cool.
All
That'd
right.
be cool.
Stay
I
on
can
hold.
wait and let someone else come in.
We'll bring this in for Dan Truman. Zach Osborne here on the Fly Racing Moto 60 show.
Hey.
What? I'm trying to do a read here.
So I don't care. So listen, the exact same amount of people on average lap time, the exact same amount of people would have been pulled off under a 10% rule. It's not exactly correct because I don't know the exact 10%, 5.5 seconds, whatever.
Right.
But it would have been the same or one more person with 10% or 2 lap rule. But the 10% rule is much more hard line than.
And you're saying 8 guys would have been pulled.
6 with you and 7 or 6 with me.
Okay. All right.
Sounds close enough. Zach did all the work. Thanks,
okay.
Zach.
Mark's is out.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. I couldn't believe it. I bring this up as a side note. Fucking Jeff Alessi, when he was racing 450 class, was going around the whoops every lap and kept racing. And they just let him kept going. And I was like, and this happened multiple weeks. And I'm like, hold on. He's in the main. Credit to him. He's in the main. But what the fuck is going on? He's missing the whoops, and you guys are just letting him race. Like, I couldn't believe it. And that would happen, like, a lot. I was just like, it's like, but no one's watching those guys back there. And you know that. No one's watching. Like, you know, whether it's Mike Pelletier or the AMA, there's 5 or 6 AMA guys that are in charge of the blue flags. No one's watching those dudes. And, it's tough to do. So, Zach Osborne here on the Moto 60 show. Thank you to folks at DecalWorks, decalnmx.com. Code PulpMX25 to save. Red Bull KTM, Husqvarna Off-Road. Great graphic company. They'll send you the proof. They'll put all the logos where you want them. They'll make you some cool numbers. They'll put Zacho's face on it. Whatever it is, Pulp MX25 is the code to save at decalmx.com. Thank you to those guys. We have another call for you, Zacho, from Zach. There's a Zach is on one. Zach, meet Zach. What's your question, Zach, for Zach?
Hey, so going back to the whole Kenny thing and the lappers, those lights on the forks, who controls those?
The AMA does. I've had a bunch of people saying this. I don't think you can necessarily see them.
So that was going to be my thing was
the leader lights, Zacho.
Yeah. How much of a pain would it be? Like, you see those tail lights on trucks when they turn their turn signals on, and one side comes on? What if that was applied to the bikes? That way you know what side you were getting passed on?
What's the difference? Okay, it's really hard to see, and you're not going to look down at your bike and all of that. What if you can see the blue flag? It's in your face. Like, seeing something being lapped, I don't think is the problem. These guys are just degaff about it. You know, most of them, or many of them, many of the times. I'm not blaming the hand incident. Like, I think Kenny deserves some blame for that crash.
I agree.
Unfortunately,
I agree.
You got to be a little bit like.
I mean, I raced woods, and Zach did too. I mean, if you're going through lappers in the woods and there's multiple lines, if you take the risk and something happens, that's on you. It's not the people that you're around.
Yeah, I mean,
you're the one going for
part
it.
of racing is getting through lap traffic.
Like I said, if it were just if Jeremy Hen wasn't getting lapped, I'm like 70 Kenny, 30 Jeremy Hen. But because he was getting lapped, it's just 100% on Jeremy Hand, right? Like,
I also think too it's based on the sand. If they weren't in the sand, it would have never been an issue. And I think that goes back to it just being a racing incident, which was based off Kenny taking the risk.
Yeah.
But I also agree with Zach in the 10% rule. Once you get to that point, and you're out, you get the points you earned for the position once you were flagged out, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's safer for everybody else.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Zach, do you want a fly racing beanie or a pair of goggles?
Oh, I'll take a beanie. Thanks.
All right. Stay on hold. We'll get you that information. Zach wins the flyracing.com beanie.
You need my address?
Are you still getting stuff from Fly, or what are you wearing now?
No, I thought you said I won something.
No, Zach, the caller. Okay. Listen, Detroit this weekend, we didn't even talk about it. Give me your thoughts on 250 East real quick.
Man, Rick cost himself a lot of points.
He did.
Not ideal. It wasn't quite as competitive in the main as I anticipated it would be. Now there's a few hitters down. I don't know. I think Max is majorly in the driver's seat at the moment.
Majorly? Yeah.
Even with just one round down and one win, like, it's easy to say that, but if you look at the factors around him, he's pretty heavy favorite at this point.
I wrote this week, though. If you're RJ, you don't need to worry unless they change their stripes. You don't need to worry about McAdoo and Hammaker. They've never finished a Supercross series, that I believe. You're faster than Vial, and you're 13 back. But you got problems with Kitchen, who's 4 up or 5 up on you, and you got problems with Max for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable for RJ. I think he's the main threat to Max, in my opinion. Even 13 down, he's the only one that can outright race with Max. But, man, Max was so good, so smooth, so solid. It didn't even look like he was riding. Looked like, like they kept saying, like a day at the goat farm. I know that's so dumb and cliche, but
no, yeah, I agree.
Him and Dax just looked like so easy, especially Max at the front. It was just like, as long as I can keep Dax where I'm coming out of the corner and he's coming in the corner, I'm just going to cruise around and win this main event.
Also, by the way, Dax is out for this weekend, another injury. So
I saw that.
That's great.
Not good.
All right, Zacho, give us your winners for Detroit this weekend. Give us your winners.
Sorry. What
are you doing right now? What's going on? What's that noise?
I'm sitting in my truck because I just got home. So it's raining. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's rain. Jesus.
I'm going to go with the Deuce and Max.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yamaha sweep then. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Stay dry.
Catch you later.
All right. That's Zach Osborne, everybody. Let's get Dan Truman on the line, by the way. O'Neill Home Team Lending, thank you to those guys. MLS number 858-644. Craig has helped a lot of people out, including Dean Wilson, Paul Parabinos, and more. He's done a loan for those guys. He's a mortgage expert, and he's built his career finding creative solutions to close loans that other banks have denied. Whether you're considering refi, a consolidating debt, preparing to purchase a home, O'Neill team are there and to guide you through the process. O'NeillTeamHomeLending.com or call Craig 619-535-7477. Give him a call. Tell him you heard him on the Moto 60 show, and he can help you out, man. And again, thank you to the folks at 100% as well. Jet Lawrence, Cooper Webb, Hymus, Vial, and more using 100% goggles. Pulp30 is the code to save with everything across the board at 100%. So 100% brand has always been synonymous with American motocross. And if you want to save on mountain bike stuff, casual wear, I'm wearing a 100% shirt right now. Goggles, Pulp30 is the code to save. Great mountain bike helmets as well. And across the board, they help out a lot. Dan Truman coming right up here on the show. Thanks to Vince on YouTube for the comment. Make a rule that you can't pass under the blue flag. That is the rule. That is the rule, Vince. They can't make a rule. That's currently the rule that gets ignored. Use dartfish wide angle of the whole track. Let lappers make claims to AMA if they get passed. I don't think you want to end up doing all that. You just shouldn't pass now. But again, no one's watching these guys. So they do it. And the Kevin Morans and his dudes, they're just – Kyle Lewis used to be bad. Heath Voss was bad with this. It's hard to pass a guy. And when they slow up for a lapper and you can just sneak on underneath, it's worth money. It's worth a point. All of that stuff. So, all right, speaking of lappers, let's get this guy's opinion on it. From Get and Athena, it's Dan Truman. Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm good. Just listening to you and Zach go back and forth on theories that won't work.
Well, I don't know. The 10% rule would work. You just need to have more officials paying attention and more officials out on the track.
What about a mud race? What do we do there?
Well, he said we adjust it for races like Indy or mud races or whatever. He did say that.
Okay. There's just too many variables. That's all. Just find the guys, make it a strict rule, and like Coop said in the press conference, I think what Coop said's pretty spot on.
If you just
make it an actual more penalty, and people will take it more serious, and we'll be.
Yeah,
fine.
if you start going like, hey man, we don't think you really tried to move over there, you're losing $100, $200, $500. I don't know. And then the guys will start
make it a real penalty, and then the guys that are getting lapped to move over. And also, I think that they can't gain time in a position. That riders do that. So
all the time. I thought about this though, and I proposed this a couple years ago because it was coming off the Monster Cup. What if there was like a lane, literally like next to the whoops, like they have in qualifying, and you have to take that spot. If you get a blue flag, you have to go through that lane. Not wide open, at a reasonable speed. So at least if you're Ken Roxon, at least once a lap there's a spot where these guys are going to go to the left, and you can go right on by or right. Or
it's one of those things that I just don't think there's a perfect fix for it. In road racing and all the other sports that we compare to, their lap times are so similar every lap because they're on road, and whether it's Formula One, NASCAR, MotoGP. And that's why like a 10% rule works or things like that, because their lap times are so similar. In our sport, they just change lap to lap.
Yeah.
What if a guy like Hardy crashes 3 times and, in 3 laps in a row, now he's black flagged, but maybe he could have got back up and been good. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Well, in Hardy's case, he would have been fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter. For him.
Exactly.
Dan Truman on the show. Get and Athena on board with us as well. Email us using the contact form on Pulp MX. We'll pass it on. Dan, we got a request for a Sherco CDI ECU the other day. So you guys are pumping those things out.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything for all bikes.
And then your partnership with Triumph, congrats on that. I'd never quite understood why the Triumph bikes were sold with Get production, and then they used a different brand last year. I never quite understood that. But anyways, moving on. You guys are now on the race team, and they won, and great job. Yeah, it's cool for you guys.
Yeah, on the OEM side, we were a big part of helping develop the bike. I think that the European race team staff had a relationship with another ECU manufacturer, and they wanted to go with that route. We know that it didn't work great last year. Everybody kind of seen that. So this year, they reached back out to us. We did a lot of testing with the race team. And, yeah, it was awesome for Jordan to get that first win. Unfortunately, Austin was sick this weekend, so I don't think he got to show his real speed. He is riding really well, and I think he'll bounce back.
My friend Big Lou was made a mention that they might pick up Gage Linville. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I know it was talked about for a while. Gage rides and trains with those guys. But Gage also, he has some sponsors and stuff and that he supports. So it's not that easy. I don't think it would be for the full season. I think Harrop will be back and Styles will be back too. So I don't know that it makes sense totally.
Right. Okay. Dan Truman here on the Fly Racing Moto 60 Show, flyracing.com. Use the code PulpMX to save with those guys. And again, so congrats on the Triumph thing for you guys. And also congrats to you, Dan, because Jordan Smith's one of your favorite guys out there. You love Jordan.
Jordan says he's my second favorite guy now that Drew races against him. So,
okay.
But I do love Jordan.
What'd you make of Drew's debut? Obviously, we know he went out with a broken collarbone and all of that. But what did you make of his first race?
Yeah, we kind of threw him in there, as you know. You were asking me if he's racing. He's got to be racing, and we really didn't know until Tech was about to close. So, first race was okay. I think he didn't do anything great, but he listened to us, and the goal was to be out there and learn. Unfortunately, round 2, he made a small mistake, but it wasn't like he was riding over his head or anything. Just kind of fell wrong on his shoulder, broke his collarbone. He already had surgery. He should be riding this week, beginning of this week again. But, yeah, I think he was right kind of where he was. Everyone expected him to go beat Cole just because he had beaten Cole at all the previous races, and I just think that, Cole racing those first 3 races really helped. He learned a lot, and the only way Drew will get better is just to be out there. So I think he'll improve, and then come outdoors, he'll be a contender for, 5 to 7 range.
Cole Davies also took a leap, for sure, really good job on that, because that's not – what I saw from him was, even at Anaheim 1, was not Supercross Future speed. That was elevated, even at the very first race. So whatever in the offseason worked, whatever that went down with the star guys at the Goat Farm, that was impressive by Cole Davies, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, speaking of the East right now, Yeah, man. What a crazy thing. Dax is already out. Thrasher's got some finger issues and finger injury, and he's going to try to ride. But we're 1 week in, and we lost two top guys.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. RJ, Levi, some of the top guys, Pierce Brown. But yeah, I think Max. We had kind of had this debate on the fantasy show last week. I think Max was the most prepared guy on the gate. He's been riding Supercross more than anybody, and no real setbacks. Right, from everything we knew, everybody kind of had some kind of small crash, whether it was Hymas or Hammaker or McAdoo, and none of us heard anything about Anstey having a setback. So for him to win wasn't a huge surprise, but I still think RJ's in this. It's a long series in this class. I think Tom's still in this. I think the main guys, Levi, they'll still bounce back up. I think if Hymas can get through this weekend, Hymas and Hammaker, and then another week off, I think they'll be in this as well. People don't know that Chance really only had 4 real days on the bike before Tampa, and I think he rode awesome for that.
Yeah, I think if you were to tell Lars and Chance and Chris Hymas, hey, he's going to get 6 at the opener, everyone would have signed up for that, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I think you were told by some people that were kind of in the circle, like, yeah, he's probably not going to race.
Well, that was real. 50-50. Yeah, 50-50 to race is what I was told. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that was real. But Chance always said, I'm lining up because I can't be in this if I don't line up. So his determination was to somehow be there. And man, the kid gave up everything. All these guys do, but I get to see it firsthand. And he gave up a lot, Christmas and everything just to be there. And yeah, I respect it. So 6 was fine.
Dan Truman from Get and Athena. If you want a deal on a Get ECU or CDI for a 2-stroke, email us using the contact form. We'll pass it on. And Get and Athena, if you want a big bore kit, you can also do that as well. I think you're hooking up selling some 265 kits for CRF 250s lately. So yeah, those things are flying off the shelves. Do you have anything that could maybe help me out a little bit, like a?
I've been doing some Yamahas, quite a bit of Yamahas. Cody Webb's now on Yamaha doing some big bore kits for him and stuff. But you just keep riding your stock bike, you're good. You just keep riding it.
All right, I'll end up doing that. Hey, how cool, Dan, for a Florida guy like yourself? How cool was it to see Malcolm do that? And he's a great dude. Always been. He's so like James is cool now that he's back around and he's away from racing. But when James raced, he was a little bit shy, a little bit aloof sometimes, very hard to deal with and all that. Malcolm's never had that. The personalities of those two guys are so different when they raced. And I think everyone's always loved Malcolm Stewart. Even Barsha likes him now.
Yeah, I don't know that there was a person in that stadium that was not excited for Malcolm. Everyone we were around, and it's just, to me, Malcolm is just the same guy. We actually talk quite a bit on his way to the track. I'm usually driving to either work or the track, and we text back and forth almost every week. And he wins, and then he texts me he's buying a boat off, Facebook Marketplace and stuff. Like, nothing changed with Malcolm. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're talking about gas prices and things, and I was like, just win again this weekend. He's like, yeah, it only took me 109. No big deal. Go back to back.
I'll go do it again.
I'm like, no, it's easy now. He never changed, right? He's the same guy, and it was awesome to see. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think he wins that race if Chase doesn't fall anyway.
I do
think
too.
He wins that race.
I do too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Some people were like, "No, Chase would have picked it up." I'm like, I don't. Malcolm had everything going for him, and he was riding well. I think he wins that race.
He told us on Monday night he was clicking 5th in the whoops.
Yeah, he was going 2-3. I mean, a few other people were going 2-3 too, but just the way he was doing it, standing up, going 2-3, and then with the momentum in the whoops, I think Max was doing it in 250 class as well. It was just, no one else was really picking up on the line, and it was just better. And he was better on the other side of the track too. It wasn't just one spot.
No, absolutely. He was good in those tabletop sections too. All right, Derek's on 4. What's up, Derek?
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Good.
Just had a comment on Malcolm's race. That was so freaking awesome to watch him win that. I finally got my voice back after screaming at the TV in complete excitement. What do you think the chances are Sam Jones already has a full movie script written on that?
I know,
story,
right?
And is going to try for a second time with the Stewart family to make a movie.
Yeah, that was a cool story about Tom Cruise and all that.
Oh my gosh, it's like the best movie that never happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a great interview having Sam Jones on there. That was super good. I love that.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, Sam Jones was in on Monday, a couple Mondays ago, Dan, and he was really close to making a movie about James with Tom Cruise, and he said Tom Cruise one time was like, I can't get the guy to call me back.
Yeah, that was the same time around, James kind of, went away for a little bit. Red Bull was trying to get a hold of him at times, and you know, we were kind of hearing those stories in our inner circle about all that, and yeah, it is crazy.
It's just nuts. Julian's on one. What's up, Julian?
Hey guys, how's it going? I kind of had a question. You have riders at Faulkner, for example, and I guess Pierce, unfortunately, that tend to kind of get hurt during the races, but I guess we don't hear much about off-season injuries from them. Is there a difference in the type of rider that can go through an off-season and it just shows up and crashes, unfortunately?
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, we had this talk yesterday in our group text about guys riding the off season and they're all fine, and then we go race, and now we have 15 factory guys that are hurt. I don't know, man. I just think that the intensity's higher. I mean, like Dax, Thrasher, they all crash at practice tracks. You know what I mean? Like, so it just timing. You know, I don't know. I don't think there's anything.
That's why, like the 9 whoops, and like Feld will tell you they did data, and there was a lot of injuries in whoops over 9, and that's why they did that, and that's fine. But to me, Supercross is dangerous all the time. And I'm not sure. I mean, we did go through last year with minimal injuries, and I think it was just one of those years. And
I mean, Chance Simons did his knee on the sand turn track, you know, last time. You know what I mean? Just like lost the front, put his knee down. I mean, look at Jet, look at Eli. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean?
I was kind of going to bring that up about the 9 whip thing. I mean, we saw Pierce then, but Sexton crashed as well, and he's not hurt. So does that kind of apply to the same data, or what are they going off of? Do we even know?
No, we don't know. No, we don't. Thanks for the call, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Kicker Bob, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Dan Truman, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. Hey, a couple questions for all of you. What about Phil coming in? Why are they not thinking about Phil for the 450 Honda?
Oh my God, for 450 Honda. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I don't know where Phil's at. We're wanting to race or whatever it is, but I mean, I think Honda has a plan. I think they have a plan. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying Phil would be a bad choice by no means. I think Phil's trying to work on some other stuff, from my understanding. So
Phil wanted to do the Triumph testing gig, and then he wanted to do KTM testing gig. I don't know if it's ever working. I don't know, but yeah, Kicker Bob. I don't think Phil's ready for 450 Supercross factory Honda. You know, I just don't know if he wants to do that. Yeah. So,
hey, Dan, you also were going to bring up some things about the VIP and such. Steve was talking about.
Yeah, let's get into that, Dan. So obviously both Lawrences are hurt. Tate Lawrence is healthy, correct? But I think, is he pro circuit now? Or what is Tate's status?
Tate is factory Honda. He's HRC Honda, but the 150 that he rides around does not qualify for homologation, so he will not be lining up.
All right. So, but both Lawrences.
No, on a serious note, we had a discussion with the family, and I said, listen, I have a lot of other jobs. I don't depend on this job, the VIP stuff. If you guys want to pull it off the road and do that, we understand. And the family thought that Jet and Hunter should go to the races as soon as they are mobile. Obviously, Hunter's got to get worked on. Jet just got worked on. And represent all their sponsors, not just the VIP, but, obviously Honda, Red Bull, a lot of sponsors pay for them to be there, and they just don't want to disappear. So we sent a message out to everyone that has purchased a VIP program and said, hey, listen, Jet and Hunter are going to come to the races still. They'll probably be a better experience as a fan because I would say not a complaint, but the one thing people don't understand on Saturdays, you don't really get to spend a ton of time with the guys. They're doing a lot of stuff. So, the plan starting in Dallas, Hunter will come for sure, and then I think Jet will start the next weekend, and the boys will be there, and we're going to still do it. That's the plan. So a lot of people were asking, so.
So Dan, with all that,
just real quick, Chad did the same thing. So I'll give Chad a lot of credit. Back when Chad got injured at Seattle that year, his last year, or whatever year it was, 19 or 18, Chad he missed one race. He missed Dallas that year, and same thing, man. Those people spend money and they want to meet these guys. They're heroes and stuff. So I respect all those guys that do that.
Yeah, I think our sport, that's the greatest thing about our sport. Our racers, they are so much more connected with their fans. So Dan, with that, do you gave me your number at Ironman last year, and we were talking about different things needs-wise and such. So do you need any extra hands out there with the VIP stuff?
No, I don't think so. It's just myself and Kyle, and it's pretty turnkey. You're welcome to send me a text if you got my number. Okay. But yeah, we do it pretty turnkey. We work with the Feld crew. They have girls that help us out and stuff. So it's pretty good. Yeah. Anyone that hasn't done it, it's a cool experience. JT did one for a long time. We do the same, very similar thing. So.
Cool.
Well, I know Steve had talked about his own VIP or his own race team, and I was thinking, we could do this whole VIP thing, do kind of an LBZ style throwback. Steve, what do you think? Can we get Dan in on this?
Dan needs another job, like he needs a hole in the head. And
JT,
JT's already stated Cooper Webb took all the money from my race team, so it's unfortunate.
Okay,
thanks, Bob.
One more quick thing.
Hurry up.
Fitz, are you using OGO golf bag?
No, I don't think he does. OGO golf bags are separate from OGO Power Sports, though. Different deal.
Gotcha.
Right.
Hey, guys,
Thank you.
have a great weekend.
Thanks,
Bob.
for
talking.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're still giving away some 100% goggles as well on the show here today. And Dan, it's cool you guys are still doing that hospitality. It's cruising along, so that's pretty good. Good for the brothers to still show up, right?
Yeah.
Kenzie's on 4. He wants to talk about Sexton penalty. What's up, Kenzie?
I just noticed that there are 2 penalties. What's the difference between not doing TV and then the violation?
Guess from what I know, he was Chase was getting into it with one of the AMA guys about it or about something, maybe the transponder, something else. There was two infractions there, like one saying I'm not going to do the interview, and the other one was, I guess yelling at the official, Dan, or yelling at somebody.
Yeah,
right.
I think he was frustrated. He had a bike issue from the crash, and it's happened to everybody before.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, thanks, Kenzie.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan. Also, too, you want to clarify? I said at the top that I wasn't sure that Tomac went to the A-Stars truck, but you actually do know from some people it did indeed happen. He did go in there?
Yeah,
okay.
I was in the truck with Hunter. There's only allowed one rider or one person with each injured rider just because it gets busy in there. And the young guy, I think Carter Stevenson from the 250 heat was in there as well. And Eli did come in there. I didn't look and see what they do. He did come in there though. Yes, he did visit. Whether they did a scan or he knew anything, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I do know that he did visit the truck. That was all. He rode up in his normal clothes and visited the truck. So I don't know if he actually knew he was hurt. I don't think he knew he had a broken leg. But I agree with Zach, though. He did what he thought was best. He thought maybe he had just a small injury and had to get a few points, and he did that. And maybe he was going to be able to get worked on this week and then be able to come back out in Detroit and still be in this title hunt. So I think any champion would have done exactly what Eli did.
Yeah, I was total Monday morning quarterbacking it, and it's easy to say, but I do wonder if he did more damage. But, yeah, who knows? And he did what was right at the time, right? So, Colin, what's up, man?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just had a question, or actually to see what you guys thought about the current the points, the way the points are paid out, or at the end of each race. We're only 5 races in, and we kind of have a 2-horse race realistically for the lead for the championship. Is there anything that that suggests where these guys can do kind of how NASCAR does, like a reset, with 6 rounds to go for say the top 6 riders? I know we have the SMX deal, but I don't know how you can consider that like a world champion if they've only raced a few races of the year. So say Jet comes back with 5 races to go, he's only raced 9 races in the year, and now he's a world champion. But I didn't know what you guys thought about the current point series.
I'm fine with it. Yeah, I like it. I like there's some separation. I don't like the F1 thing where it's like 10, 9, 8. Yeah, I like the points the way they are. So,
okay, yeah, no, I just was wondering y'all's opinion on that. It kind of sucked that we have so many races to go,
but
and there's
listen,
only 2.
Listen, I know what you're saying, and I know what other people are saying. We're 5 rounds out of 17 down, and yes, it looks likely that Sexton and Webb are just going to be in this, but dude, anything can happen. Kenny could get, we could have a bike issue. We could have a crash. Kenny could get on the podium, and now he's right back into it. Anders,
that's true.
It's too early to start saying that. Yes, it looks like it. I'll give you that. But I think it's too early to be like, oh, man, we only have 2 riders now. Anything can happen. So thanks, man.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
I think, yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Dan, so I called Lars on Monday night on the Pulp Show, and, I, like many others, threw out Dean Wilson's name. And I know McElrath told me that he was on a 5 or 6 race deal, and then they'll reevaluate on the quad lock side, money, finances. But, yeah, Dean, McElrath, Factory Honda. Boom. Make it happen.
What about Dylan Ferrantis?
Well, he's got a team and sponsors and all that.
McElrath's got a team.
But, no, his deal wasn't locked in. Like he said, it was only 5 or 6 races. So
Oh, I was just looking off pure results. I have the results up, and I'm looking at Honda guys that ride Hondas.
Right.
Joey also got 7th this weekend.
Yeah, Joey's got a team. He's got a deal. He's got sponsors.
Oh, okay. So can't have a team or a deal.
Well, it makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Why are you shitting on Dean?
I support Dean. I might have been the first one to send the message to Lars about Dean. We love Dean.
We do love Dean. He's on a farewell tour.
No, I thought Dean couldn't come back till round 10.
I think Dean can come back soon. Yeah.
Well, I thought he had commitments, so
I don't know.
Why I was. Nobody knows anything.
If you call Dean and say, "Hey, man, we got a factory Honda, and you're going to fill in," he's coming over.
I also don't know Honda's position is like they don't have a sponsor like a Monster or Red Bull that's saying, "Hey, we have to have a bike out there." I mean, I'm sure Honda wants a bike out there, but I don't know that they like have to have one out there. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe Progressive. I don't know. I have no idea. You're right.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that either. That's not me at all. But obviously, the best Honda riders: Joey, McElrath, Dean, Dylan. Those are the 4 guys on Hondas.
If you're David Eller from Phoenix, you can't take my number 1 guy.
Yeah, and you're probably right.
Yeah, I guess
you're probably right. I just was looking at results.
You could put Joey on there, and then Yariv could have McElrath in Joey's spot. That could work.
Right, that's what I mean. Like there's options. If you had to pick Joey or McElrath, Joey's the faster guy, right?
Is he though? I mean, this weekend he was great, but he's been up and down. But yes, generally speaking, yes. I would agree.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm curious to see what they do.
Tits, so we got 100% goggles to give away. We're not going to take any more calls, so just pick someone on the phone.
Okay.
And thank you for that. Pulp 30 code to save at 100%, by the way, on anything on 100% across the board. And thanks for calling, everybody. Tits will pick one of you guys on hold to win these goggles. Fly Racing beanie as well. Day race this weekend, Dan. It's going to be weird to have the night show start at like 12 Pacific to watch it, and it'll be over by like 3. But, yeah, Detroit's a good track, good stadium. Who do you like to win?
The race ends at like 6 p.m., but yeah.
Oh, 6 Eastern?
Eastern, yeah. I like RJ Hampshire to win 250 class, bounce back, and I like Cooper Webb to win the 450 class.
Okay. And Sexton Webb, as I told the caller, there's a lot of races left. But do you like one of those 2 guys over the other for the title?
I think Kenny and Jason are also in this still. Kenny's been strong, not just the fastest guy, but Kenny's been strong, and Jason sees an opportunity here in a contract year to get some wins. But if I had to bet money, I'm with Zach on this. I'd take Cooper Webb. Preseason Cooper Webb's interviews, he said, "I know how to be there 17 races," and he does. He knows how to. He got 2nd this weekend. I mean, you could ask people what place Cooper Webb got. I don't know, 5th, but he got 2nd, and he actually beat everyone he needed to beat. So
his heat race was impressive too. Like I know he hasn't won this year, but that heat race was pretty impressive. He was riding great.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, no, Coop's going to be tough to beat over the next 10 rounds for sure.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not going to Detroit this weekend, but I'll see you in Dallas at the VIP program for some creamer and some lattes. So
my birthday weekend. It's going to be a big weekend.
Oh, are you going to be okay? Because I know you can be all right.
I'm going to be great. What do you mean?
Late nights, early mornings, Truman.
Never since 2005. Never been late to work one day.
Oh, I'm sure. Your schedule's amazing. All right, Get in Athena. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the time, buddy. We'll talk to you. Pulp Fantasy podcast coming up shortly here too. By the way, so thanks for that.
Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
That's Dan Truman, everybody from Get and Athena. Thank you to Fly Racing, 100%. O'Neill Home Team Lending. Max's Tires, Seat Concepts, Decal Works, all on board with us. Sorry we couldn't get to all your calls. But, Marks, who you got for the win this weekend?
Chase.
And then the other class?
Levi.
Okay. All right. Chase and Levi. You went off the script from Dan and Zacho.
I didn't hear what you guys said.
Okay.
So, YOLO.
Tits.
Yep.
Fantastic job.
Yeah.
Fantastic job. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep. Great work. Mark's not bad. Thanks for coming in.
You're lucky I came, to be honest.
Oh, I bet I am.
That's what she said.
Fly Racing Moto 60 show. See you next week.